Pentatonic scales, they're awesome. They're easy to remember. They're easy to phrase with, but they can be a little predictable, a little boring, and make you feel a little uninspired. That's okay, because I've got 5 ideas today that are going to help you get out of that pentatonic rut while still using those shapes, but in a new way. That's coming up. Hi everyone, my name is David Wallerman. If you are new to this channel, welcome. This channel is all about helping guitar players like yourself find their own personal musical voice on the instrument and develop it to tell your own musical story. Today is all about pentatonic scales. I have 5 challenges, 5 ideas using pure minor pentatonic scales today. These 5 challenges are actually extracted from a full course that I released a few years back, but I wanted to share those with you today. The tabs will be on the screen for your convenience. All you need to do is grab your guitar. Let's get started. In this first challenge, we're going to use a sliding technique. We're going to work in the key of D, and we'll use the first position of a D minor pentatonic scale in this area of the fretboard between frets 10 and 13, and we're going to descend that scale. It's important to be aware that from the perspective of the player, so from my perspective, I have a left note and a right note, and we're going to use those a lot in the following 30 challenges. So we're going to start with the left note of the first string in the key of D, so that's the first string 10th fret, and we're going to hammer to the right note, so that's frets 10 and 13. Once we did that, we're going to go to the next string we encounter, so the second string, and we're going to slide from the left note to the right note and back to the left note again. So those are 3 notes that we're going to hear, starting on the left note, slide to the right, and then back to the left note again. So altogether we have this. And then we're going to add 1 note on the 3rd string, and that's going to be the right note. So those are all the notes we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once we got that sequence, we're going to repeat the same exact thing, but from the 2nd string. So hammering the left note to the right note, and then going to the next string we encounter, the 3rd string, and we're going to do a slide from the left to the right to the left again. And then we're going to end on the 4th string, right note, and so forth. The difficulty is that even though the sequence is built on 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is played in 16th notes, which is 4 notes per beat. So the logic of the sequence is not always going to fall on the first strong beat. So if I have a tempo like this, 2, 3, 4, and I play 16th notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over this sequence, you can see that the first note doesn't always fall on the strong beat, the first beat. That's the difficulty. So use the backing track. Once you are comfortable with that idea, expand and try this in all the 5 different positions of the D minor pentatonic scale. Explore, have fun. If you don't nail this correctly, don't worry about it. Just work on this, and then tomorrow I'll meet you for a new challenge. I'll see you then. Today's challenge is all about bending a note to approach another note. The note that we're going to bend from is not a note that is in the scale, but we're going to land on a note of the scale. And all the bends are half step bends, which are bends that are just bending from a note to sound like the next fret up. And we're going to work in the key of B minor pentatonic. And the first position happens between frets 7 and 10, and we will use that position for this lick, for this challenge. And we're going to descend that minor pentatonic scale. And the idea is to descend 3 notes, 1, 2, 3. And the fourth note is going to be a bended note from a half step below that third note we landed on. So in this case, the third note is on the second string, 10th fret, so we're going to bend the 9th fret to sound like the 10th fret, so just a half step bend. Something like that. It's really important that you're very precise in your bends. And depending on the notes that you're going to fall on, the bends are going to happen either with the ring finger or the middle finger. And that gives you a very Jeff Beck type of sound, and I encourage you to develop this in the first position, and of course try to expand if your practice session allows that, but try to get that technique and work on the precision of these bends. That's today's challenge, and practice with the backing track. I will meet you in tomorrow's challenge. Today's challenge is about chords. We're going to use triads, which are chords made of 3 different sounds. And we're going to use a G minor pentatonic scale. This time we're going to take a look at the full fretboard. So if I write all the notes that I find in the G minor pentatonic scale and I put a dot on my fretboard, I'll have a long fretboard, and we're going to concentrate on the first 3 strings. So strings 1, 2, and 3. And if I look at this area of the fretboard, the lower area of the fretboard, I have my first position between frets 3 and 6. That's my G minor pentatonic scale position. And I'm going to take the 3 left side notes from the player's perspective on strings 1, 2, 3, and I can play that chord, and this is what I have. And that's my first chord. And then I can move each of these 3 notes to the next note it encounters within that full G minor pentatonic scale, and I will have a new chord shape. And I can do that for all the different positions. And that's how we're going to play that lick, using these different triads. So there's 5 different triads, and that's if we use strings 1, 2, and 3, but we're not limited to that. We could use strings 2, 3, and 4, and this time the triads are going to change, the shapes are going to change a little bit, but always consider the full minor pentatonic scale. So print out the chart and try to find your own triads. Work on this lick the way that it is shown in the opening of this video. Work over the backing track and then explore with different strings like that. And that's today's challenge. Practice well. I will see you tomorrow on the next one. Today's challenge is an A minor pentatonic. We're going to use the first position between frets 5 and 8, and we're going to use some slides. When we approach some notes, as a matter of fact, we're going to approach the left side notes. Remember, from the player's perspective, you have a right note and a left note in each of these positions. And we're going to approach these left notes with a half step slide from a half step below the note that we're sliding to. The note that we're sliding to is a note of the pentatonic scale. The note we're sliding from is a note that is outside, so we're approaching these notes from a half step below. The sequence is built like this. I'm going to start on the high E string. I'm going to descend the first 2 notes of the minor pentatonic scale in the key of A. That's frets 8 and 5. And then I'm going to skip the next string to play the 3rd string right note, again from my perspective, so that's the 7th fret. And then I'm going to go back to the string I skipped, in this case the 2nd string, and I'm going to approach that left note, which is the 5th fret, from a half step below, so that's 4th fret, and slide to the proper note, and then I'm going to finish my sequence on the 3rd string right note, which is the 7th fret. Here it is all together. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the sequence. 6 notes make that logical idea. Once you have that idea, we're going to repeat the same exact process, the same exact combination from the second string. Just remember to follow the corresponding shape that you're working in. This challenge is in the first position, but don't limit yourself to that first position. Try that challenge from all the 5 different positions of the minor pentatonic scale you're working in. And so forth, and just develop like that, always over backing tracks. Remember, if you're not nailing this challenge exactly how it was played in the opening of the video, don't worry about it. This is a 30-day workout, and you'll get back to it later. I just want you to spend at least 30 minutes on this particular challenge, and then just have fun with it. If you spend more time, the better, but at least 30 minutes would be good. Practice well over the backing track. I will see you tomorrow for a new challenge. Today's challenge is about arpeggios. We're going to use an F minor pentatonic shape, and we're going to use all 5 of these positions. Let me show you on the first position what's going on. Remember that from the player's perspective, we have a left note and a right note. Very important because we're going to use these to organize our logic behind this challenge. We're going to start with the low E string, and we're going to ascend 1 string at a time, so that's going to be 6 notes, the 6th string, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and we're going to alternate left note and right note, left, right, and this is what we will have on that first position of F minor pentatonic scale. Left note, left, left, and right. And the frets are going to change depending on the position you're working in, but that's basically the principle. Once you play that on the first position, we're going to move to the second position. And then the third position. And so forth. Once we reached the high octave, an octave higher, we're going to do it the opposite way. We're going to descend from the high E string to the low E string, and we'll start with the left note and then alternate left, right, left, right, left, right. On that first position, an octave higher, it would sound like this. Left note, left, right, and we'll just follow that principle on all the different positions, descending like that. Before you try to mix and match all these different positions, memorize the positions. Take one position and memorize the arpeggio, ascending and descending. Just memorize those shapes and then just be creative over the provided backing track and expand. You can download the tabs and the backing tracks for these 5 challenges for free. All you need to do is visit the link below, enter a valid email, and it will send you those licks and the backing tracks. If this was your first visit here, I would love for you guys to subscribe. This channel is all about helping guitar players like yourself finding their voice on the instrument and telling their own musical story. Remember, no one can play the way you play. I'll see you next time.